Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over some transfer tips and targets ahead of the Game Week 3 deadline, specifically about players like Neto and Bailey. They are the players that a lot of people are getting rid of this week. So if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment, what are your transfer plans for Game Week 3, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, I'm going to break this video into 3 different parts. So, the first part is what to do with the likes of Trippier, because obviously a lot of people are wanting to get rid of him this week because he's got some tough fixtures ahead. And then the second part of the video is going to be like the Bailey and Neto replacements. And then the third part of the video is what to do with Nunez replacements, who of course is now banned for 3 games because of that Zidane headbutt that he obviously did on Anderson on Monday. So, starting things off, Newcastle player replacements really, or this could be also something you do as well with Neto and Bailey. If you don't want to transfer Neto and Bailey into a different midfielder, you could then downgrade them to obviously get a little bit more money to then upgrade a player, a defender up into like a 4.5 or a 5 mil player. A lot of people do own Nico Williams that do have 4 at the back, and so yeah, this could be something that is just I guess another avenue that you could target. But either way, Trippier replacements, the first one is Cucurella coming in at 5 mil. I feel like he will get a price rise soon before the Game Week 3 deadline, but I think Cucurella is a really nice option, especially with Tuchel's comments. He did say that Cucurella wasn't going to be playing left centre back much at all, so that basically means that it's between Chilwell and Cucurella for that left wing back spot. He also did say that Chilwell is not match fit. He's not ready to play in the Premier League yet. He's still coming back from injury. So that kind of means that Cucurella is going to be playing, you know, the next 2 or 3 games at least, starting, hopefully playing 90 minutes. And then even when Chilwell does kind of get back into the squad, Cucurella will still probably start those games, but then come off on like the 60th, 70th minute. So that would obviously still bank you a clean sheet as long as they haven't conceded at that point. And especially with Chelsea's fixtures coming up, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, West Ham and Fulham, I think it's a really good time to jump onto Cucurella, a really cheap player to get into that Chelsea back line. And if he's playing left wing back, you got Reece James playing right wing back. You know, Cucurella did take corners. Will probably take set pieces. He also spoke about free kicks as well. I just think he's a really good option. I'm definitely thinking about bringing him this week, downgrading Neto and then bringing in Cucurella for Nico Williams. I think that's going to be my transfer plan this week. But either way, that's an easy switch from Trippier to Cucurella. If you did want to downgrade though to a 4.5 mil player, I think both Brentford and Brighton defenses are something that you should be taking a look into. Now, this 4.5 mil Brentford player could be Henry, it could be Ben Mee as well. Of course, Henry has been playing 90 minutes both games. Ben Mee didn't play 90 minutes for the first game, but he played 90 against United. So I think he's kind of... I mean, they brought him in, obviously, to solidify the defense, and that's exactly what he did. But yeah, Brentford's fixtures over the next, like, 5 or 6 game weeks are just really good. They've got Fulham, Everton at home, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Southampton. They started the season really strong at the back, and yeah, they're definitely impressing a lot of people, and it's a cheap defense to get into as well. A lot of people do own Raya, so obviously if you already own Raya, then I probably wouldn't bring in double Brentford defense. I'd probably look into like Brighton or something like that. But like I say, if you did want to downgrade Trippier to a 4.5, I think Brentford's a really good option. And as well as that, if you did want to downgrade Neto or Bailey to a 4.5 mil midfielder and then bring in the extra money for a 4.5 mil defender, I think that's also a good option. Veltman as well, but again, could be any Brighton defender. Of course, Veltman's just on this list because he's played 90 both games. More good fixtures as well for Brighton. Again, really strong start to the season. West Ham, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. Just really nice fixtures to target. And again, really low owned, 4.5 mil, really good defense. Again, this is just another idea that you could be kind of toying with. Another player that I'm a little bit rocky on because obviously Tomiyasu is back now, but Saliba is another way into that Arsenal defense, a little bit cheaper than Gabriel, coming in at 4.5 mil. Tomiyasu was back at the weekend, but Saliba did still play 90 minutes both in that game. I know obviously he scored an own goal, which was a bit unfortunate, but either way, Arsenal's fixtures are really good. And if you don't have the money to upgrade to a Gabriel or a Ramsdale or something like that, I think he should be okay for the next couple of fixtures, but again, is a little bit rocky. They do play 2 promoted sides though, which again, hopefully would be 2 clean sheets, especially with how good Arsenal started the season. But again, a little bit of a risky one this is. So I think this would probably be like the back of the transfer kind of target, just because you don't know if he's going to be playing every single game, because Ben White was playing left back, but now that Tomiyasu's back in, Ben White could go into centre back. So where does that lead like Saliba? Because obviously Gabriel is not going to lose his spot. So it's kind of between Saliba and Ben White who's going to play in that centre-back role, as long as Tomiyasu comes back in for that left-back spot. But the last player that you could be bringing in for Trippier is Kyle Walker. Has gone up to 5.1 though, so obviously you would have to get money elsewhere if you didn't have any in the bank. But yeah, just a really cheap, not really cheap, but obviously the cheapest way to get into that City defence. Only 5.1 mil. Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Forest, Villa, Tottenham, Wolves, United and Southampton. Some pretty nice fixtures there. City have obviously started really strong. 2 clean sheets. Walker seems to be playing every single game. I don't think they're going to be signing a new wing back. So of course that could be a nice little option there if you do want to get into the City's defence. And again, they've just been so strong. They've still got really nice fixtures. Double City defence just seems to be the way that a lot of people are going now. And yeah, Kyle Walker is obviously one of the cheapest ways to get into it. So that is kind of the Trippier replacements, or the upgrading the likes of Nico Williams or Patterson if you did downgrade one of your midfielders. Going into midfielders though, if you do have money and stuff elsewhere, these are probably the 5 that I would kind of target. Now, if you don't have Martinelli in your team, just get him in. Like he's gone up to 6.3 now, but he's just like going to be one of the main players this season. You know, he's starting every single game. He's cheap. Arsenal are obviously playing really, really well. And again, Bournemouth, Fulham, Villa, United, Everton, Brentford, really nice fixtures on the horizon for Arsenal. So yeah, if you don't have Martinelli, bring him in. Even if you have to take a hit, he's just such a good FPL asset this season. If you were wanting to downgrade by Neto, De Silva is an option. I know he scored 2 goals this season already. His minutes are getting better as well, 31 in game week 1 to 61 in game week 2, but his XG has been really, really poor. Like that second goal, it shouldn't have gone in. De Gea should have saved that. But again, still a nice option. Brentford do have good fixtures. I think his minutes will just keep getting higher and higher and higher. But of course, if you don't have the you know, because obviously I think Bayer's gone down to like 4.9 now, and if you downgrade him to De Silva for 4.6, that's only going to leave you with 0.3, so you're not going to be able to upgrade to like a 4.5 defender. So yeah, that's kind of the problem with Bayer owners now. Because of that price drop, it kind of really, really hurt. It really just kind of hinders a lot of plans. But either way, if you are obviously wanting to downgrade, De Silva I think is an okay option. Probably wouldn't be the top of my list, but he's there if you did want to bring in a Brentford player for quite cheap. Rodrigo, I'm not a huge like advocate of at the moment. I know he's obviously been playing quite well. He's obviously just got a massive haul against Southampton. Could be on penalties if Bamford doesn't make it back. But I mean, the next 2 fixtures, Chelsea at home and then Brighton away. I don't think Brighton away should be a green fixture. Brighton away is quite a tough game to score goals in, and then Chelsea at home is also going to be tough. Obviously Everton, Brentford again, another tricky one. Then Forest. I mean, yeah, you've got okay fixtures there, but for 6.1, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I don't really like the idea of bringing him in at the moment, but again, you'd have to find money elsewhere just to bring him in, because of course he's a lot more expensive than buying in Neto, but still an option around that 6 point kind of midfielder role. Pereira, another option. Again, he's down injured. We'll have to see what happens at the press conference, but of course, if you don't have him yet, I think he's just a really good player to bring in. 4.5 mil. Fulham don't have the greatest fixtures coming up, but he's on you know, corners. He's really attacking player. He's going to be playing every single game this season for Fulham, barring injuries and stuff. So yeah, if you don't have him already, he's a really good player to downgrade to, and I know he is obviously flagged for a knock, but he should be fine. And then Gross as well. Pascal Gross I think is another really good option. He started the season really strong, got a big haul against United in game week 1. Could be on penalties as well now that Morpay's, I don't know if it's confirmed that Morpay's going to Forest or not yet, but of course he was on penalties. So yeah, Pascal Gross could be on penalties now. 5.6 mil. I think if if Gross didn't have a price rise, I probably would have gone from Neto to Gross this week, but of course I can't because I've been priced out. But I think I would have done that move. I really like him. They've obviously got really good fixtures coming up again. Could be on penalties. Really cheap option into that Brighton midfield. But yeah, definitely something you should take a look at if you are thinking of getting money elsewhere. But yeah, I quite like him as an option. But yeah, if you do have a buy in Neto, and again, it is a conundrum to be dealing with right now. I personally think I'd say the best player to bring in, obviously Martinelli if you don't already have him. But again, there's not like a lot, like these are kind of the best players to bring in. Like Neto is also an interesting one, because I guess you could hold Neto, but he's probably going to have a price drop soon. He could be someone that you bench for like the Tottenham game. You know, Newcastle's going to be a tough one, and then Bournemouth and Southampton. It's just Wolves do not look very attacking at all, and yeah, once it's that Liverpool City game, like, do you want to just keep holding him? Whereas you could be bringing in someone like, I think the better option is to bring in a defender. Personally, I think downgrade Bailly or Neto down to like a 4.5 mil player, because you could also bring in Reed as well for Fulham. He's another player that is going to play like every game, but again, he's only 4.5, so, and he's not really going to get you many returns, but he's just a player that you can just enables you to bring in other players. I think the best option really is, if you're short on funds, just to downgrade Neto and Bailly and then bring in a 4.5 mil or a 5 mil defender. I think that's just kind of the best way to go. That's just my personal opinion though. So that's like the Bailly, Neto replacements, stuff like that, Trippier replacements, stuff like that. Going into the Nunez replacements, there's 3 that definitely strikes the eye. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, you'd bring in like Haaland or Kane for him, but again, getting 2 mil is quite difficult. And I think he's actually had a price drop as well. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just check that real quick. He hasn't had a price drop yet, but he definitely will. Because obviously a lot of people brought him in. But yeah, he's 9 mil. So the likes of bringing it up to like Kane or Haaland for 11.5, like 2.5 mil is just going to be so difficult to get. So that's why it's just kind of been brought in strikers that you'd be able to easily get to. So Jesus, obviously, probably the best strike you could have in the game at the moment. Only 8.1 mil. Going up to 80% owned now. I've got Bournemouth, Fulham, Villa. Again, Arsenal just starting really good. I don't really need to talk too much about Jesus. We all saw what he did at the weekend. I think Tony is probably one of the better options to bring in, though, if you do already own Jesus. I think he's been involved in like 50% of Brentford's goals already this season. They've obviously scored 6, so he's been involved in 3 goals. Got really nice fixtures coming up. He's on penalties. His penalty conversion rate is ridiculous as well. Like, his penalties are absolutely like stupid. 8 points in game week 1, 9 points in game week 2. I would love to have Tony in my team if I could fit him in. It's just I can't. But yeah, if you do have a Darwin and you're thinking of getting rid of someone, he's like Tony. I think is a really good option. And then that frees you up with like 1.9 mil that you could easily use elsewhere on your team to bring in someone like a really good defender or something, or a better midfielder. But yeah, I think Tony's a really good option. And then finishing things off, which I think a lot of people are kind of missing out on, is big old Danny Welbeck. He started really, really strong. He's playing 90 minutes both game for Brighton, especially with Morkai going as well. He obviously scored against United, and I think he's just a really good option that people are overlooking. He's only owned by 1.4%. He's 6.5 mil. And yeah, he's just been getting attacking returns constantly. Like, he's just ticking over. I really, really like Welbeck as an option, and for 6.5 mil with Brighton's fixtures, I think could be a little bit of a steal. It's a bit of a punt as well, but for 6.5, you could easily then downgrade him again to like Mitrovic. Mitrovic is another option. He's on penalties too. It's just Fulham's fixtures coming up are not like the greatest. Obviously, they've got Brentford, but then Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea in like game week 4, 6, and 7. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of Mitrovic. I'd much prefer Tony or Welbeck. But yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. But they are all the kind of transfers to kind of bring in for you know, the likes of Trippier, Neto, Bailly, and Darwin. Hope this video helped. If you did, please do consider hitting the like button down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment. What are your transfer plans for Game Week 3? Subscribe if you're brand new. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.